up there? This is Wakeangel2K1, and this is a review of the Transformers Robots in Disguise Skywarp. Now, it's pretty inevitable. Every time you get a Starscream, you're gonna have to repaint him into at least a few of the Seekers. And of course, the most popular one is gonna be Skywarp. Because, you know, he's Skywarp. He's purple and black, and he just has the most awesome color scheme. You gotta just love it. It's just so great looking. He looks fantastic. So this is the very first Skywarp that I've ever personally owned. I had this weird little quirk where I didn't want to fall into the trap of buying the same Seeker mold over and over again, so I figured I would get a different mold for each one of the Seekers. The first one I bought was Thundercracker, who was the blue one. I got him in the Classics mold, and he was actually the first time I ever got a Seeker, you know. So that's my Thundercracker. And then I got the Fall of Cybertron Starscream, and that became my go-to Starscream. And then we all know my favorite Seeker, Slipstream, who is the Windblade remold. You know, Slipstream's color scheme is actually kind of similar to Thundercracker's with all the purple, although the teal does help set her apart. But we're not talking about my Seeker collection right now. Well, actually I did want to talk about my Seeker collection, but that was it. So I have Seekers that are not remolds of the same Starscream. Every Seeker is a unique mold, and I like that. But let's just talk about how cool this color scheme works, because like I said, I love this Starscream mold. I think it might be one of my favorites. He has a very compact little backpack, just the cockpit of the plane folded back there along with his wings, and the wings can be repositioned. So if you want to have like this diamond shaped look, or you can flare them out to make it a more proper flared cape, depending on however your whims go, and it just looks pretty darn good. I'm pretty sure they didn't really do any remolding for the head, because it just looks a lot like Starscream. In fact, let's bring the original Starscream in so we can look at their faces side by side. Their shoulders are way too broad. Yeah, why is the camera focusing on? Yeah, it's the same mold. It's hard to get them standing shoulder to shoulder because their shoulders are so gigantic. But yeah, it's the same mold. Although I think it looks a little bit sterner. I think it's because his eyes and his head crest are that purple. Well, his eyes are still red, but the purple head crest, it makes his head just look darker and therefore more sinister. So his lips look less neutral and more scowly. He definitely looks angrier. Although I do wish they picked out his cyber goatee just a little bit, because it looks, you know, it has the sculpting of a little cyber goatee, but it's not actually painted. And on the box art, it's painted. Whoop. So yeah, like the guns are just purple plastic. They don't have that cool gunmetal paint job that Starscream's has. And like with any other RID toy, the paintwork is actually pretty minimal. You got only the fronts of his shoulder pads are painted, not the tops. You got the kneecaps, the feet, the inside edges of his tail fins which are on his shins. Well, the outside edges too, but like there's a black line between them. Almost like they put stickers on, but that is painted, not stickered. I like the wings. Let's bring them up so we can see them real quick. They have those really cool Decepticon logos and the silver stripe to separate the purple from the black. That looks pretty darn good. And the cockpit window is still a bright yellow. But because now it's sitting on a sea of black and gray instead of red with a gray stomach, it really changes the color contrast. So yeah, like Skywarp's Skywarp's color scheme has always worked. I'm pretty sure like this, like elements of purple and black are probably like the best color scheme you can have for a villainous character. And I know that it's really what it's really one of the most popular schemes, no matter what character it is. I don't know if it's just because the scheme looks inherently cool, or if Skywarp is just everyone's favorite Seeker. But let's get him into his vehicle mode so we can see if you know, it still holds up in that color scheme as well. This is an amazing look. Alright, now, I've already said before that this is probably my favorite Starscream jet mode. I mean, seriously, it still looks like something out of Gradius to me. Kind of has a little bit of the forward swept wing design from Animated I like so much. Tiny bit of his Cybertronian Tetrajet mode. But seriously, in this color scheme, it is epic. I mean, look at all that. The purple, the black. It's just so sleek, so stealthy, so awesome in every way. And I just realized I was standing in my own light source. But look at that. Oh man, that is nice. I mean, from the underside, well, from the underside it looks really good. Since most of his robot parts are black, his under cable is much better hidden because it all just kind of blends into itself. Unlike on Starscream, where, you know, you can clearly make out, oh, there's his chest, there's his legs, there's his arms. Here it's like, oh look, it's a mostly undifferentiated black and silver mass down there. So, you know, like, this is where a lack of paint actually helps make the vehicle mode look a little bit better. But really, all the paint detailing goes on the top of the plane, which is what you see when it's on display anyway. And it is glorious. Now, don't get me wrong. The Seekers have always had some pretty nice plane modes. I'm still blown away by how realistic an F-15, the Classics mode looks. And I gotta say, I do have a little bit of a fondness for the Fall of Cybertron pointy thing with stubby little wings, which I know this is more than anything supposed to be an homage to the Tetrajet, what with the more rounded body looking thing. Although if he's a Cybertronian vehicle, why does he have a cockpit? On Cybertron, you transform for transportation, not for disguise. Therefore, you don't need a cockpit. And of course, I have all of the love for Windblade's original VTOL jet mode, which they use for Slipstream. So, again, my fleet, my fleet of Seekers is a very nice looking, with each one of them looking unique and interesting. Although, kind of makes Thundercracker look a little bit like he's the leader, because his jet mode is the biggest. Although, since he's the only one with backward swept wings, you can actually see him as being the fastest. Yes, because you know the rule, forward swept wings mean more maneuverability, back swept wings means more speed. Or maybe you don't know that because you don't know aerodynamics. Yeah, so I probably don't have to tell you to go out and buy yourself a Skywarp, because he's Skywarp. He's the awesomest looking and most popular of the commonly seen Seekers. So odds are anyone who's any kind of Transformers fan has probably already got this one. But I gotta say, it is a great repaint of this mold. It looks pretty darn fantastic. And you can do so much worse than the RID Seeker mold, which is what we're going to call it now. Because it's just awesome looking. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just great. Alright, so this is Wakeangel2K1 signing off.